Hey BoLS fans, AdamHarry back again with another BoLS Retro Corner review. I know it's been a while, but I have a very special one today. This is the Champions of Chaos supplement for Warhammer. It came out around circa 1997, so it's a pretty old book. This actually was a companion book to the Realm of Chaos book, which this book had all of the army lists and stuff like that. I might do a retro review of this one on another date, but for right now I wanted to focus on the Champions of Chaos because this book is a little bit more timely with the end time stuff going on and some of the rumors that have come out. So with that said, let's go ahead and flip it over real quick, show you guys the back again. Citadel, made in the UK, Games Workshop, again circa 97. So that's what the back was, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So what this book covers, again, this is old school Warhammer. You actually have a couple of different things. You've got all the intro and some of the stuff and fluff story going on there. It covers the Lords of Chaos, which let me just zoom in real quick and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So we've got Archaon, we've got Eccold Hellbrass, which he's got some really cool abilities. Count Mordrek with an E, not an A, not to be confused with Mordrak, the Grand Magister from Grey Knights. That's different. T'Challa, the denied one. Arbol, the undefeated. Egram von Horseman. I want to put a star by him real quick. We're going to get to him, but that's a big one. Skyla, Spawn of Chaos, which is still in the game. Amon Chakala, sorry if I'm butchering these, but Amon Chakala, there you go. Azazel, Prince of Damnation. Kazrak, the One Eye. And Gorthor the Cruel, and then Ravagers of Gorthor, sort of story there. This book is actually relatively short. It's like 50 pages roughly. So there's 45, and then 3 more pages of story. So yeah, let me go ahead and zoom out, and we'll go to the first section that I want to cover, which is going to be some of the fluff stuff. So this book did a really good job of covering basically the foundations of what it takes to become a Chaos Champion and what that looked like from a story perspective. So you know, just starting out, whether you're a Priest of Sigmar, a Wizard in the College of Magic, a Norseman, or whatever, you get that touch of chaos, and the road to darkness begins there, and just kind of goes from there. I'm not going to read the whole story, but kind of goes there. Chronicles of Chaos, the Unholy War. This just talks about Archaon, Lord of Chaos. Again, he's not the Ever-Chosen yet. I want to point that out, but we'll get to Archaon's entry in a moment and kind of go over that in more detail. But it also talks about Chaos is basically broken up into the Mortals of Chaos, which are now the Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, and then the Demons of Chaos. So again, the Realm of Chaos book covered covered all three armies in one book basically for fantasy. So it's interesting that they're moving back to that after the end times. So this again just talks more about Archaon stuff, Path of Damnation. That's another short story. Flip through here. This is the cool part. This is when we start talking about the actual Lords of Chaos and special characters. Points values are a lot different in this edition of Fantasy. Just the way it worked and with the different percentages and stuff like that. It's not totally different than how it is now, but you'll see what I'm talking about when you look at the point values. It's very very granular. So first up, I want to talk about Archaon. This is one of the first pictures of him in the art. Basically, at this point in Archaon's career, he has collected 5 out of the 6 artifacts to become the Chosen One. He has the Mark of the Chosen One, has the Armor of Morkar. He has the Eye of Shirin, which is the jewel he wears on his neck. He rides the big demonic mount, and he has just gotten the legendary sword Slayer of Kings as well. And he's looking for the Crown of Damnation, I believe, or Domination, which is the 6th and final one. And you can check that out in this book. See, boom! Now he's full power, Crown of Domination. So, yeah. Anyway, this is before that version of Archaon existed. So, his rules: he's 630 points, which isn't too crazy. It does say he has to have a retinue of 630 points or more. Again, the points were kind of strange, but I want to point a couple other things out. His movement, he's mounted, so he's a movement of 12. His weapon skill is 9, BS 9, strength 5, tough 5, 4 wounds, initiative 9, 5 attacks, and leadership 10. His mount is weapon skill 6, strength 5, tough 4, 1 wound, 6 initiative, and 3 attacks as well. He's got a 1-up save, which is his mount is barded, market chaos. It has all those special rules. So there's a bunch of crazy stuff, bunch of crazy rules. Sword of Chaos is I don't believe it can summon. Let's see, causes him to hate. 2 points per model. Yeah, so a little bit different. Slayer of Kings. In battle, he can use the demon trapped in the blade, so just like he can now. Armor of Morcar, it gives him the really high save, armor save. I have Sheeran. This is also a little bit different. You roll at the beginning of the battle, see which it grants him. So on a 1 or 2, Archaon is completely immune to the effects of hostile spells. Note that any spell cast against Archaon is not dispelled as such and can affect other troops even though Archaon remains unharmed. On a 3 or 4, Archaon cannot be harmed by magic weapons. Any magic weapon used against him simply counts as a normal weapon of its type. Note this does not affect magic bows like the Bow of Lauren, for example, or other magic weapon used in the shooting phase. On 5 or 6, Archaon can take his armor save on 2 dice, rolling 2d6 and saving on a 2+. Any armor save modifier is reduced as normal, and attacks which ignore armor saves altogether will ignore. So he had an option to get a possibility of getting to roll 2 dice and adding together to not fail a 2-up save. So pretty crazy. Archaon is and always will be a beat stick. This was just before he became super uber. Here we have Akold Hellbrass, which again, if I'm butchering that name, I do apologize. He's got a really neat ability, and I could have sworn I saw this somewhere else. I thought it maybe was a Sigfold thing, but basically he's a Chaos Champion from from Tzeentch, actually, and you can see his stats there. But what I want to point out is his Breath of Life ability. As he walks around, the ground around him springs to life. So it's kind of weird. Any living thing he touches springs in new and vigorous growth. The long dead wood of doors and staves takes root upon his touch. His touch can restore health to creatures that are about to die, for that's the power of Breath of Life. So as he's walking around, they say the desert, rocks pop up, springs form, stuff like that. But he kills people with his crazy awesome sword, the Windblade, which also had a chart that you roll at the beginning of the game. On a 1 or 2, it allowed him to fly. On a 3 or 4, it no longer was basically a great sword, so it was +2 strength, always strike last. But on a 3 or 4, it lost always strike last and gained always strike first, and he still had the +2 strength. On a 5 or 6, he could throw it, and any unit hit based on his ballista skill of 8 would suffer D6 strength 5 hits. So pretty crazy. He's pretty neat. Maybe he'll come back. And if you know what I'm talking about, the Breath of Life, the other person that has that ability, I just can't think of it off the top of my head, but I swear I've seen them before in Fantasy. If you know what character it is, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Alright, the next Chaos Champion up is actually Count Mordrak the Damned. So, again, Count Mordrak, excuse me, with an E, not to be confused with Grandmaster Mordrak with an A. Their stories are a little similar, but basically he's actually closer to Drago than he is to Mordrak. So his whole thing is he can't die. He basically, if he gets cut down, he gets back up, he gets resurrected to serve his masters again. Every time he can't ascend or descend or whatever you want to call it, but he's cursed by chaos to continue to do their bidding. This guy is actually where we get a couple of cool chaos artifacts. The Sword of Change. He every time you kill somebody or more than 1 wound on an enemy that does not kill him, roll d6 on a 1, so basically against characters or monsters, at a 1 for each wound inflicted above 1. A score of 5 plus the enemy's turn to chaos spawn. So that's the weapon where we got the initial Sword of Change, excuse me, that turns guys into spawn when you kill them. He's also got the Chaos Rune Shield, which was another thing, and you can see his stats. He's actually mounted as well. He's got some crazy stats, a lot like Chaos Spawn, where you roll a d6 and add a static number to that and kind of mess around with the stats. So he could be really awesome or not so much the next game. So it's just based on chance. So pretty neat. Valnir the Reaper is next. This is a champion of Nurgle. He got this crazy flail and he runs around killing people. He's kind of a Grim Reaper for Nurgle, and he collects their souls and stuff like that. Could be a cool one to bring back maybe one day. But Wind of Pestilence is a special ability. One of them, he has 1 through 3 is Red Plague. The horrifying disease in the north wipes out men like a scythe cuts wheat. This unit suffers D6 strength 3 hits with no saves of any kind allowed. It's pretty brutal. It's only D6 though, so yeah, but no saves is the key there. On a 4 or 5, they get brain fever. As their brains become infested with worms, a burning fever, the victims become insane and weak-willed and become subject to stupidity. They also have black rot on a 6. The flesh of the victims of the black rot turns dark and their hair falls out. Skin becomes leprous, putrefied mess. All members of the unit suffer -1 strength penalty. No chariots, war machines, or characters are affected, even if they're in the unit. No undead and demons are affected either. So, but yeah, he spreads his plague walking around. He might die, but he'll just come right back. Gets resurrected by Nurgle. He has a great flail, Gatherer of Souls, which is his crazy weapon. Let's see here, +2 bonus to strength. It's 2 hands to use, but Valnir never tires, so he always gets the +2 to strength. For every 3 wounds caused by Valnir to Val, he increases his attacks, weapon skill, and strength by 1, up to a maximum of 10. So the more stuff he killed with it, the better he gets. So he's kind of a wrecking ball and just kind of keeps going. And then, of course, Nurgle regen. Gotta have that if you're Nurgle, right? T'Challa, she's a champion of Slaanesh, or Cursed by Slaanesh, however you want to look at it. She is one of the serpentine, crazy 6-armed fiends there, so it's pretty cool. Her stats pretty solid. Weapon skill 8, BS 7, but 5/6 attacks. So she still hates corn. She got cut up by a corn champion one time and does not like that. So her magic items: elixir of damnation, and many arms. It's pretty cool. Six arms. She gets the extra +1 attack every 6 attacks. So that's what they're talking about there for chaos rewards. Yeah, she's got deflection, some other cool stuff. I don't know if they would ever consider bringing this model back, but it would be kind of neat. Arbol, champion of Khorne. He actually rides a Chaos Hound of Khorne instead of a Juggernaut. I don't know if Juggernauts just weren't a thing yet, but it's kind of neat riding around a Hound of Khorne. Mark of Khorne, obviously. His weapon, this is what makes him crazy. He's the Destroyer of Khorne, and apparently there can only ever be one Destroyer of Khorne at a time. If the Destroyer of Khorne ever loses, Khorne takes it out on their eternal soul, and it's not pretty. But if you notice here, his attack characteristics says 2d6, thanks to the Destroyer of Khorne. 25-point reward, and it's pretty nuts. You roll 2d6 attacks during the hand-to-hand combat phase at the start of each hand-to-hand combat phase to determine how many attacks he gets. So he can have up to 12 swings with his crazy weapon skill 9, strength 6 attacks. So pretty nuts, even by today's standard. He's 570 points. Want to point one other thing here. 355 points, 340 points. Most of these guys have a nice round number for points. Mordrek's where it starts to get a little weird with 398 points. That's what I was talking about earlier, where the point values are kind of weird. So, this guy, Egram Van Horseman. If you notice here, he is a Chaos Champion, obviously. He's riding a 2-headed dragon. That is not the current big dragon for Chaos. So let me pull that one out real fast. He is not riding Galarach. I know I'm not saying that right. So he's not riding that, the first Great Drake. But he is riding a 2-headed dragon, Balderos. So, this is what I was talking about. His points get a little weird. He's 521 points by himself, and then the dragon's another 625 points. And then the dragon comes from the Allies allowance, because this edition of Fantasy was a little bit different. But 520 points is kind of a weird thing. But some people might recognize his name, Van Horseman, from some of the Empire artifacts. He was actually an Empire wizard in the college, and he actually studied the Order of Light wizard. He eventually becomes in charge of the Order. He's the Grand Magister at one point, and while studying, you know, everybody thinks he's studying light magic all day, all night, but at night he's actually studying the Chaos Tomes. He's using his magic to unlock Chaos artifacts that have been locked away, and he's just gathering all that power. Eventually he gets found out, but by the time he's found out, he unlocks the dragon here from his prison in a pyramid of light, and then they fly off to the North together. And he's basically the big bad, to be perfectly honest, from this book. He's the one riding the dragon, two-headed dragon. His stats aren't that great, but he's still respectable. But he's the one riding the dragon. So he's got a Chaos Rune Blade, Power of Mind, which is pretty nuts. Chaos Familiar, which again is back in the game. Cunning of Tzeentch, Skull of Catan, whatever you want to say. That's still in the game, or it was last time I checked, so that's pretty cool. But he's coming back. Apparently the rumor is that this is the big kit for Chaos. It's going to be a 3-part kit for End Times when the Archaon book comes out. So Archaon on the dragon, the big two-headed dragon, and then Van Horseman also riding a big dragon. So I'm really looking forward to that. Skyla, Chaos Spawn, still in the game, 320 points, pretty nuts. Ironheart skin, collar of corn, all that good stuff. Pretty scary looking. It's got the crazy tail. Again, this one is 320 points. That's the old picture. Here's the new one. Oop. The new one in color. So you can see the resemblance there. The hands have changed a little bit versus the crazy claws. Pretty cool. Point wise, I don't know exactly what the point wise on the new one is. Let me double check. But Skyla there, I kind of like this old picture better, just because it shows off more of the crazy Ironheart skin and the crazy claws, and the tail looks kind of Tyranidy to me. So it's got like a face hugger coming off of it. So pretty nasty, pretty gnarly looking. Skyla is 105 points versus 320 points, so kind of a big jump in point differences there. So I'm on, I don't know, I'm saying this right. I'm on Chakai. There's a apostrophe there. So Lord of Change, 855 points. This was the prototypical Tzeentch Lord of Change. So this is not the same person that becomes Fatebringer, as far as I can tell. Hates all Nurgle demons back when they were still doing that. Terror, Demonic Aura. This was one of the first level 5 wizards as well, so pretty brutal there. All-Seeing Eye, good stuff. Azazel, Prince of Damnation. This guy is a boss. He's a Slaanesh demon prince. But his cool story is that he is so pretty that he has this ability called Temptator. So basically, if you're in close combat, in base-to-base contact with him, you have to take a leadership check on a 2d6. If there's more than one characters, the Chaos player can pick. But they take the check. If they fail the check, that character becomes a part of the Chaos army from then on out, and there's no way to reverse that. So he would just take over your character if you failed the leadership check, and that guy would start punching you right in the face. But he's pretty gnarly. It's because apparently he's so pretty. He's got a Demon Blade for 50 points. No armor saves allowed. Master Sorcery. Uses Slaanesh, level 2 sorcerer there. He's got a bunch of crazy stuff. Got a big Great Claw as well as the sword. So Mark of Chaos, he has Slaanesh Mark. Wings, Terror, Strike and Tail, all that crazy stuff. Zazel, 570 points. Pretty gnarly. Then you have a couple of Beastmen heroes in. Again, because Realm of Chaos covered basically the Mortals of Chaos, Beastmen, and Demons, they wanted to include some Beastmen love as well. So here you have Kazarak, the One Eye, and he had his dog, Red Maw, as a Chaos Hound. Apparently he could shoot Red Maw off like kind of like a separate unit, but then he functioned as one unit. It's kind of weird, but it's pretty neat. He lost his eye to a count, and then fought another count and poked out his eye. So now that the count here is promised a reward of 10,000 gold crowns for anyone who can slay him. Pretty hefty price. Gorthor, the other one, Gorthor, the Beast Lord, he's 510 points. He's pretty mean. I think he's actually the big bad for Beastmen as well, so he's pretty boss stat-wise. He rides a chariot, and he's got the big Impaler magic weapon here. So Impaler gets +2 bonus to Gore strength while charging. If all Gorthor's 4 attacks with the Impaler score hits, the model is killed outright with no need to roll a wound. So that applies every turn, not just when charging. The victim will be pierced by the Impaler and is ripped apart. So pretty mean. And then Ravage's Gorthor short story. So again, this book's relatively short. I've spent a lot of time covering it. There's some cool photos. This book is chock full of flavor for the backstory. Love the art in this book. It's all black and white. But that's how they did that back in '97. So it looked really cool. Some of these guys, keep an eye out for them with the end times. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple more popped up eventually just to say hi. Being Warhammer, it's a very cyclical game. So stuff always comes back. Anyway, that's another BoLS Retro Corner review. I'm AdamHarry signing off. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the views and the likes and the comments. So, all right, have a good one.